So if chord numbers like 1, 4, and 5 don't make sense yet, you're missing one thing, the major scale. The major scale is the foundation of almost all music, especially Western music, so pop, rock, country, and blues. In every key, there are 7 notes, and we assign each one a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 is our octave. Those numbers are what we use to build chords and even build songs. There's just one key pattern that you need to remember. Half steps exist between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8, and everything else is a whole step. And what does that mean for us guitarists? Well, a whole step is 2 frets, and a half step is 1 fret. So if I know the half steps are between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8, I can say 1 to 2 is a whole step, 2 to 3 is a whole step, 3 to 4, my first half step, 4 to 5 is a whole step, 5 to 6 is a whole step, 6 to 7 is a whole step, and then 7 to 8 is my second half step. If you know that, you can build any major scale. So let's take the key of C major and build our scale there. So I'll start at the 3rd fret on the A string, which is your 5th string. And we're going to go all the way from C to C an octave. And in the key of C, we have no flats or sharp. It's all natural notes. So it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C. So we can do C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Well, we're not here to learn the letters, we're here to learn the numbers, right? So let's go back to that, remembering that our half steps are between 3 and 4 and 7 and 8, and everything else is a whole step. So 1 to 2, whole step, 2 to 3, whole step, 3 to 4, first half step, so just 1 fret, 4 to 5, whole step, 5 to 6, whole step, 6 to 7, whole step, and finally 7 to 8, our last half step. While that's great to show you how to visualize the whole steps and the half steps, maybe what's more practical is to learn the scale in one hand position. So we'll play it across 3 strings, and I'll show you that. And this is a pattern you can learn, and you can move it all over the fretboard. So this shape is going to start on the 3rd fret on our C. We'll do it in C major. And we'll start by using our 2nd finger. So why do we start with the 2nd finger? Well, because when we go to the next string or the 2nd string we're playing this across, we're actually going to play a fret lower, and I'll show you why. And we're going to use our 1st finger. So all together, let me play it real quick. It's 2, 4 fingers, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 4. And what I'm doing in the key of C is I'm assigning my 1st finger to all 2nd fret notes, my 2nd finger to 3rd fret notes, my 3rd finger to 4th fret notes, and then my pinky to 5th fret notes. But I have to start at the 3rd fret because that's where my C is. And if I go a whole step, I'm going to go from 3rd fret to 5th fret because it's a whole step, right? 2 frets. But I'm going to go to the next string, and knowing that the D I just played is also the same note as the open D of the next string, but I've already played it. In order to go a whole step from 2 to 3, I have to go to the 2nd fret on that D string to get E. So all together, 1, 2, 3. So fingers, 2, 4, 1. Frets, 3, 5, 2. And then now I'm at 3, so I know 3 to 4 is my first half step. So I just go 1 fret with my 2nd finger, right? Remember, 2nd finger is assigned to all 3rd fret notes. And then my next step is a whole step, right? We just did our first half step. So I've got 3 more whole steps now before I get to my last half step. So 3 to 4, half step, 4 to 5, whole step. So 3 to 5, 3rd fret, 5th fret. But I'm using my 2nd finger, 4th finger like I did on the 1st string. So across 2 strings up 5 degrees, it's 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. Now, I'm also on the 5th fret of the D string, which is the same note, G, as the next open string. So to go to A, I've got to do 2nd fret on the G string. So all together, the first 6 degrees, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, right? And then I know from 6 to 7 is still a whole step, so I've got to go 1, 3 with my fingers from fret 2 to fret 4. And then finally 7 to 8 is my half step, my last half step, and I go from 3rd finger to pinky, just that 1 fret from 4 to 5. So all together, and then play a descending. So now that you've learned that, that's a movable pattern all over the neck because we have no open notes. It's all fretted notes. I can go from 3rd fret on the E string to 7th fret to the E and then play it there. Key of E. What's even better is I can actually start on a root note on the low E across E, A, and D strings, and the same pattern applies. So key of G major at the 3rd fret on the low E. Or, interestingly enough, I can go up to the 8th fret, play that pattern off the low E, same key as 3rd fret on my A string. Key of C. So it's movable all over the neck, especially on those lowest 2 strings. We'll get into some other octaves at a later time, a later lesson. But if you know that 7-note pattern with your fingers and you get that under your fingers, you can move it all over the neck. So now watch this. Here I've got my 1 right in the key of C at the 3rd fret. And then if I go up to the 4, 1, 2, 3, half step 4, that's my 4 chord, or will be my 4 chord, the root of my 4 chord, and then a whole step up is the 5 chord. So if I wanted to play a 1, 4, 5 progression, C, F, and G, and that key back to C. 1, 4, 5, back to 1. I can do the same thing in G, 3rd fret root on the low E, G, and I go up to the C at the 8th fret, that's my 4. Go up a whole step or 2 frets from that to the 10th fret, that's my 5, back to the 1. So that's where all this comes from. It all comes from the step formula, not memorization. In the next lesson, I'll show you how these numbers turn into chords beyond the 1, 4, 5, and why some feel like home, some create movement, and some create tension. The major scale is your map. Once you understand this, everything else starts to connect.